Hi everybody. Another rainy day story. It's been pouring rain, a little thunder outside too, so you may hear that as I'm reading you a story from my Hans Christian Andersen storybook. This one is called The Emperor's New Clothes. Many, many years ago, there lived an emperor who liked clothes better than anything else in the world. He spent most of his day thinking about his new suits. He did not think about what was best for his country. He did not think about what his soldiers needed. He did not think about good things he could do for his people. Soon it was known all over the country that the emperor cared for nothing but new clothes. His servants did not work very hard, and his soldiers did not watch over the palace very carefully. One day, two men came to the palace. They had heard the stories about the emperor liking new clothes. They had thought up a way to fool the emperor and make themselves a lot of money. The two men said to the soldiers before the palace, "We have come to make the emperor some new clothes." The soldiers called the servants of the emperor and said, "Take these men to the emperor. They have come to make the emperor some new clothes." When the two men were taken to the emperor, they bowed low before him. "O mighty emperor," the one man said, "we have come to make you the most beautiful suit of clothes that you have ever had." "O mighty emperor," the other man said, "we have magic in our fingers. The cloth we weave is magic too." The emperor was very happy. He told his counselors to give the two men everything they wanted. Then the emperor turned to the two men and said, "What is the magic about the cloth that you weave?" The two men whispered together. The one man said, "O mighty emperor, only the man who has been good and has told the truth can see our cloth." The counselors gave the two men a lot of money to buy what they needed to work with. They gave them a room in the emperor's palace for their work. The two men took some of his money and bought the looms upon which to make the cloth. They set these looms up in their workroom. Then they said they were going to buy the best silk thread to make into cloth. But they just put the emperor's money into their pockets. All day long the two men worked at their looms. They acted as though they were weaving cloth, but they really were not making anything but a lot of noise. At the end of a week, the emperor said to himself, "Sometimes I am not a good man, and sometimes I do not tell the truth. I am afraid to go and look at the magic cloth that the two men are weaving. I will send my oldest counselor. He is a good man, and I am sure he tells me the truth." When the oldest counselor of the emperor came to see the magic cloth, he was very much surprised. He looked and looked, but he could see no cloth upon the loom, because there was no cloth there. Dear me, the poor old counselor said to himself. I have always thought I was a good man, and I have always tried to tell the truth, but I can see no cloth upon the loom. I must never let the emperor know." And so, when the one man said, "Don't you think the cloth is very beautiful?" the oldest counselor said, "Yes, the cloth is very beautiful." And when the other man said, "Do you like the gold thread in the cloth?" the oldest counselor said, "Yes, I like the gold thread." The oldest counselor went back to the emperor and said, "The magic cloth is very wonderful, and the gold thread is and the gold thread in the cloth makes it very beautiful." But the emperor was still afraid to go and look at the cloth. The emperor sent the youngest counselor. Now, the youngest counselor was not a good man, and he did not tell the truth. And so when he walked into the workroom, he said, "I see that cloth you are making, and it is very beautiful. When will you start making the emperor some new clothes?" "Oh, we must have money to buy gold thread," said the one man. "Yes," said the other man, "we must have more money." And so the youngest counselor gave the two men a lot of money. The youngest counselor went back to the emperor and said, "You will be much pleased with this wonderful cloth." By now everyone in the country had heard about the magic cloth that the two men were weaving for the emperor's new clothes. Whenever anyone went to the workroom, he could see no cloth upon the loom, because there was no cloth there. But everyone was afraid to say that he could not see the cloth upon the loom. At last it came time for the emperor to go and see the cloth that the two men had made for him. The emperor called his counselors and all of his other helpers to go with him to the workroom. The two men bowed low before the emperor. They held out their hands and acted as if they were lifting up a piece of beautiful cloth to show him. "Is it not the most beautiful cloth you have ever seen?" asked one man. "The cloth will make you the finest suit of clothes you have ever had," said the other man. "What is this?" thought the emperor. "I can see nothing at all. Am I not good? Am I not truthful? Can it be I am not fit to be emperor? No one must know." The emperor said, "You are right. This is the most beautiful cloth I have ever seen." Each of the men who was with the emperor thought the others could see the cloth. They crowded around the emperor, saying, "Such wonderful cloth we have never seen." Then the emperor turned to the other two men and said, "You have done well. Now you may make this cloth into a suit for me. We are going to have a big parade. I will wear my new suit." Then the two men began to act as if they were making a suit. They cut the air with big scissors. They sewed and sewed with needles that had no thread in them. At last the two men said the suit was done. Word was sent out all over the country. The people came from far and near to see the parade. The emperor and his counselors went to the workroom. The two men acted as if they were holding up a suit for the emperor to see. "Here is the beautiful coat," said the one man. "Here are the pants, and here is the shirt," said the other man. But the two men had nothing in their hands. "It is a wonderful suit," said the emperor. "Yes, yes," said all of the counselors. Then the emperor took off all his clothes but his underwear. The two men acted as though they were helping him into his new suit. They buttoned buttons that were not there. They touched him here and there as if they were picking off little threads. Then they stepped away and looked at him. "Is that not a beautiful suit?" said the one man. "Doesn't it fit him well?" asked the other man. "It is the best work we have ever done." The emperor stepped up to the big mirror. All he could see was himself in his underwear, but he was afraid to say so. "I am very well pleased," he said. "Come, let us go and show the people." Then the emperor, in his underwear, went down to the street and stepped out to lead the parade. All of the people looked and looked. Each one was thinking, "I cannot see the emperor's magic suit. It must be that I am not good. It must be that I do not tell the truth. Nobody must know." So they all said, "Isn't the emperor's new suit beautiful? Doesn't it fit him well? What bright colors! Just look at the emperor's new suit." But a little boy was standing at the edge of the street watching the parade. He took one look at the emperor and said, "The emperor is walking in his underwear." Everyone heard him. One whispered to another, "Can you see the emperor's suit?" The boy said, "He has no suit on." "All I can see is the emperor in his underwear," whispered another. "The emperor has no clothes on," went the whispers down the street. And the emperor heard it, but he could not stop. He had to lead the parade down the street, and he walked in his underwear. Behind him walked his counselors. And when he came to the end of the street, he turned and walked slowly back between the rows of people. Everyone was very quiet. The emperor thought, "Neither I nor any of my counselors has told the truth. That little boy is the only one who has told the truth." The little boy who said he saw no clothes. Wonderful story, and I hope you enjoyed it on this rainy day. Take care.